Commander Allison Wright stood on the bridge of the flagship Retribution, watching as the combined fleet moved into formation. 53 human ships, each equipped with quantum shields, were joined by 22 Ardelian vessels, 17 Taurian cruisers, and smaller numbers from 5 other species who had broken with the Council. "Enemy fleet detected," reported Lieutenant Eric Mason. "They're moving out from behind the third moon of Proxima Centauri." Allison studied the tactical display. The Council forces were impressive. 87 ships in total, primarily Xanthian and Mavorian. Under normal circumstances, such a force would easily overwhelm the Allied fleet. But these were not normal circumstances. "All ships, battle formation Delta," Allison ordered. "Quantum shields at maximum. Remember the plan. Target their command ships first." Beside her stood former Arbiter Zenvos, his tall frame bent slightly as he examined the Council fleet movements. "They're using a standard Mavorian assault pattern," he said, "predictable but effective. Their commander is Kel Thrak, a traditionalist. He will not expect innovation." Allison smiled grimly. "Then innovation is exactly what he'll get. Signal all ships. Operation Breakwater is now active." Throughout the Allied fleet, captains received their orders. The formation split into 3 distinct groups, a maneuver that would have been considered suicidal by conventional tactics. The Council fleet surged forward, eager to exploit what they saw as a mistake. "Energy signatures increasing across the Council fleet," Eric reported. "They're powering weapons." The Grand Council chamber erupted in chaos. Representatives from 37 spacefaring species shouted and argued as the evidence from the human raid played on every screen. Images of Xanthian experiments on humans, secret directives to limit technological growth of younger species, and records of bribes paid to Council officials filled the displays. In the center of the storm stood Representative Amanda Douglas, the new head of Earth's delegation. After Ambassador Walsh's detention, she had demanded the right to address the full Council. Now, as the evidence spoke for itself, she stood tall and calm amid the chaos. "The evidence is clear," she said, her voice cutting through the noise. "The Council has betrayed its founding principles. It no longer protects all species equally. Instead, it serves the interests of a few powerful members who wish to maintain their advantage." The Xanthian delegate rose in fury. "These humans invaded a secure Council facility. They should be punished, not heard." "We would not have needed to steal this evidence if you had been honest," Amanda replied. "You claim to represent justice, yet you experiment on our people. You claim to protect peace, yet you attacked our colonies without provocation." From his seat at the highest tier, Council Arbiter Zenvos watched in silence. For 300 years, he had served the Council, believing in its mission. Now, as the evidence mounted on the screens before him, he felt his faith crumbling. "I call for an immediate vote," demanded the Taurian representative, a member of an advanced species known for their logical thinking. "The Council must address these violations of our most sacred laws." "There will be no vote," declared High Elder Mivara. "This is human trickery designed to divide us. The evidence is clearly fabricated." "It is not fabricated," Zenvos said, speaking for the first time. The chamber fell silent as all eyes turned to the Arbiter. "I have verified the data myself. The timestamps, encryption markers, and source codes are genuine. What we are seeing is the truth." Mivara's eyes narrowed. "You overstep your authority, Arbiter. And you have betrayed yours," Zenvos replied, rising from his seat. "I hereby resign my position as Arbiter. I cannot serve a Council that has abandoned its principles." Gasps echoed through the chamber. An Arbiter had never resigned in protest in the Council's 7,000-year history. One by one, representatives began to stand. The Taurians, the Ardelians, the Prochans, the Vulturi. 8 species, then 12, then 17 declared they would withdraw from the Council if reforms were not made immediately. On Earth, Admiral Miller watched the Council broadcast with grim satisfaction. The infiltration team had succeeded beyond all expectations. 4 members had returned safely. Major Collins and Private Garner were reported as lost in action, their sacrifice ensuring the mission's success. The Council is fracturing, Miller told the assembled Earth Defense Command. But the hardliners won't give up easily. The Xanthians, Mavorians, and 3 other species are preparing for war rather than accept change. Commander Wright studied the tactical display showing enemy fleet movements. They're gathering their forces near Proxima Centauri. It's a clear staging area for an attack on Earth. Miller nodded. Then that's where we'll meet them. All ships with the new quantum shields are to rendezvous at these coordinates. He highlighted a position in the display. The Ardelians have pledged their support, as have the Taurians. "Sir," said a communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from former Council Arbiter Zenvos. He's requesting asylum and offering complete Council defense plans." Miller exchanged looks with Wright. Accept immediately. His knowledge could save thousands of lives. In his private chamber aboard the Council station, Zenvos packed only essential items. His decision to defect to the humans would brand him a traitor among many of his own people. But after centuries of watching the Council grow more corrupt, he could no longer stay silent. On his datapad, he reviewed the defense plans he was bringing to the humans. The Council hardliners were planning a massive assault to crush Earth before more species could join the human cause. They didn't understand what they were facing. Humans didn't fight like other species. When backed into a corner, they didn't surrender. They fought harder. And the Council was about to learn just how terrible human fury could be when fully unleashed. Major Ryan Collins checked his equipment one last time. The infiltration suit felt strange against his skin. It combined human protective gear with Ardelian phase-shifting technology. Around him, 5 other soldiers did the same, their faces tense but determined. "Remember," Ryan said to his team, "our mission is information, not destruction. We get in, upload the evidence to the network core, and get out." They stood in the hangar bay of the Shadow, humanity's first stealth ship. Built in just 8 days, it combined Dr. Pearson's quantum shields with Ardelian stealth systems. From the outside, it appeared as nothing more than a small piece of space debris. 5 minutes to arrival at the communications hub, announced the pilot over the intercom. Ryan looked at his team. Lieutenant Sarah Matthews, communications expert; Sergeant Peter Daniels, security systems specialist; Corporal John Reed, combat engineer; Private Lucy Garner, computer systems analyst; and Private First Class Kevin Liu, the team medic. All volunteers, all the best at what they did. "The Council doesn't know we have this technology," Ryan said. "They don't know we're coming. But if they catch us, there will be no rescue mission. We're too deep in their territory." No one spoke, but they all nodded. They understood the risks. A shadow slipped past the outer sensor ring of the massive communications hub. The station was a marvel of engineering, a sprawling complex of antenna arrays and processing centers that coordinated all Council communications across 20 sectors of space. "Approaching maintenance airlock C-17, the pilot said. "Sensors show it's currently unmanned. Good luck, Major." Ryan led his team through the airlock. Their suits bent light around them, making them nearly invisible. They moved silently through the maintenance corridors, following the path memorized from Ardelian intelligence reports. "First checkpoint," Peter whispered, pointing to a security scanner ahead. Lucy stepped forward, attaching a small device to the scanner's control panel. The device, based on Ardelian tech, fed the scanner false data, showing an empty corridor. They continued deeper into the station, avoiding patrols when possible, freezing in place when not. The Ardelian phase-shifting technology wasn't perfect. Rapid movement could still be detected if someone was looking directly at them. After 20 tense minutes, they'd reached the central data core, a massive chamber filled with glowing data columns. Council technicians moved about, monitoring the systems. "The main access terminal is on the far side," Lucy said. "We need to create a distraction." John nodded and pulled a small device from his pack. This will overload the cooling systems in Section D. It won't cause permanent damage, but it will draw most of the staff away. The device was placed, and moments later alarms sounded in a distant part of the facility. As predicted, most of the technicians rushed to respond, leaving only 2 at the central terminal. "I'll handle them," Ryan said. He moved quickly, using his combat training to render both technicians unconscious with minimal force. Lucy hurried to the terminal, plugging in a data device containing all the evidence they'd gathered. Footage of experiments on humans, secret council directives targeting peaceful species, corruption at the highest levels of council leadership. "Uploading now," she said. "This will broadcast to every communication system in council space and beyond. No one will be able to ignore it." The upload was at 60% when the alarms changed tone. "They've detected the intrusion," Peter warned. "Security teams are sealing the section." "How long?" Ryan asked Lucy. 2 more minutes, she replied, fingers flying over the controls. Diplomat Victoria Reeves pulled her hood lower over her face as she walked through the crowded alien market on Trelac Station. The station sat in neutral space, one of the few places where humans could still move freely despite the council blockade. Victoria was here on a mission that could change the course of the war. She stopped at a fruit vendor's stall, pretending to examine the strange blue fruits while watching for her contact. A tall, slender figure with pale skin approached the same stall. The Ardelian looked like he was also shopping, but Victoria noticed the 3 quick taps of his fingers against the countertop, the signal. "The weather on Proxima is lovely this time of year," Victoria said quietly, the agreed-upon phrase. The Ardelian's large eyes blinked once. "I prefer the moons of Ardel, where shadows provide comfort." The countersign complete, they moved away from the stall, walking side by side, as if they were simply 2 shoppers who happened to be going in the same direction. "I am Krelvos," the Ardelian said, senior advisor to the Ardelian Conclave. "Victoria Reeves, Diplomatic Corps," she replied. "Thank you for meeting me." They entered a small tea house and took a private booth at the back. Once the server left them alone with their drinks, Krelvos leaned forward. "The Conclave has reviewed your proposal," he said. "Many are interested. The Council has restricted our development for centuries, claiming our technology was too dangerous to be widely used." Victoria nodded. "The same excuse they're using against us. The difference is, we ignored them. Your species has remarkable determination," Krelvos said, his lips forming what passed for an Ardelian smile. "The Council did not expect you to fight back so effectively." Victoria placed a small data cube on the table. "This contains footage of what the Xanthians are doing to our colonists. They're not just relocating them. They're experimenting on them, trying to figure out why humans adapt technology so quickly." Krelvos's pale skin flushed with a bluish tint, a sign of anger among Ardelians. "This is forbidden under Council law. Even for enforcement actions, laws mean nothing if they're not applied equally," Victoria said. "We want more than just an alliance, Krelvos. We want to create a new order, one where species are treated as equals, not ranked by how long they've been spacefaring." Back on Earth, Colonel Nathan Banks stood before a 3-dimensional star map in the war room of Earth Defense Command. Red markers showed Council forces. Blue showed human ships and bases. Yellow highlighted potential allies, with the Ardelians prominently displayed. "If the Ardelians join us, they'd bring 2 crucial assets," Nathan explained to the gathered officers. "First, detailed knowledge of Council defense systems going back 400 years. Second, stealth technology that surpasses anything we've developed." Admiral Miller studied the map. "And what do they want in return?" "The same thing we want," Nathan replied. "Freedom from Council restrictions, and help defending themselves if the Council retaliates." Miller nodded slowly. "And your plan to strike at the Council?" Nathan zoomed the map to show a massive space station in the Cygnus sector. "This is the Council's central communications hub. Every directive, every order to their fleets passes through here." If we can infiltrate it, we can broadcast proof of their atrocities to every species in the galaxy. An information war rather than just a shooting war, Miller said thoughtfully. But getting to that hub would be suicide. It's the most heavily defended Council facility outside their home systems. Nathan smiled grimly. That's where the Ardelians come in. Their stealth technology combined with Dr. Pearson's quantum shields might just get us inside. In the lab adjacent to the war room, Dr. Olivia Pearson was already working with the Ardelian technical specifications that Victoria had sent ahead. The alien stealth systems were elegant but used entirely different principles than human technology. If we combine their phase-shifting approach with our quantum field generators, she explained to her team, we could create a ship that's virtually undetectable and impervious to standard sensors. Engineer Jack Rodriguez, temporarily reassigned from the Valiant, examined the designs. It would require a complete redesign of the power distribution system, but it's possible. We'd need about 2 weeks. We have 10 days, Olivia replied. The Council is moving more ships to New Montana and Liberty Point. Once they consolidate their hold there, they'll push toward Earth. Jack nodded, determination in his eyes. Then we'll do it in 8. Captain Samantha Powell stood on the bridge of the Valiant, Earth's newest warship. Through the main viewport, she could see the blue-green curve of Earth slowly falling away as they prepared for their first mission. Engineering reports the quantum shields are at full capacity, Captain, said her first officer, Commander Richard Blake. Samantha nodded. Tell Dr. Pearson and her team well done. Now let's see if they work as well in combat as they did in testing. The Valiant was humanity's first true warship. Built in secret over the past 2 years, it incorporated everything humans had learned from studying alien technology, plus innovations the Council races hadn't even imagined. The quantum shields were the most important of these innovations. All stations report ready for FTL jump, Richard announced. Very good, Samantha said. Mission objective: break the blockade around New Montana and extract as many colonists as possible. Let's show the Council what humans can do. The stars blurred as the Valiant jumped to faster-than-light speed. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Jack Rodriguez monitored the experimental drive systems. The quantum shields required enormous power, and balancing that with the needs of the engines and weapons was his responsibility. How's she holding, Rodriguez? Asked his assistant, Ben Morin. Like a dream, Jack replied, pride evident in his voice. 300 years ago, our ancestors were still burning fossil fuels. Now we're bending space-time and generating quantum fields. Not bad for a species the Council calls primitive. The Valiant dropped out of FTL at the edge of the New Montana system. Immediately, alarms sounded throughout the ship. 3 Xanthian cruisers detected, reported the tactical officer, Lieutenant Maria Dias. They're moving to intercept. Samantha stood calmly. Battle stations. Bring the quantum shields to full power. Weapons ready but hold fire until my command. The crew moved with practiced efficiency, despite never having faced actual combat before. On the main screen, the 3 Xanthian ships grew larger as they approached. They're hailing us, Richard said. On screen, Samantha ordered. The alien face of a Xanthian commander appeared. Human vessel, you are violating Council space. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Samantha met the alien's gaze steadily. This is Captain Samantha Powell of the Earth Defense Ship Valiant. New Montana is a human colony. You are the trespassers here. You have 5 seconds to comply, the Xanthian snarled, ending the transmission. They're powering weapons, Maria reported. Shields at maximum, Samantha ordered. Evasive pattern delta. The Xanthian ships fired simultaneously. Energy beams struck the Valiant's quantum shields, which shimmered but held firm. In the engine room, Jack fought to keep the power systems stable as the shields absorbed the attack. Return fire, Samantha commanded. Target their propulsion systems. We want to disable, not destroy. The Valiant's weapons lanced out, striking the Lid Xanthian ship with surprising precision. The alien vessel's engines went dark, and it began to drift. "The other two ships are moving to surround us," Maria warned. "Not today," Samantha said. "Execute maneuver Omega-6." The Valiant spun on its axis and accelerated directly toward one of the remaining Xanthian ships. At the last moment, it veered away, firing at point-blank range. The Xanthian ship shields collapsed, and a second shot disabled its weapons. The final Xanthian cruiser turned to retreat, but the Valiant was faster. Within minutes, all three enemy ships floated powerless in space. "Signal the colony," Samantha ordered. "Tell them extraction is beginning immediately." As the Valiant moved toward New Montana, they began receiving distress calls from the surface. The colony's main settlement appeared on screen, with Xanthian forces clearly visible patrolling the streets. "Captain," Maria said, her voice tight with controlled anger, "I'm picking up unusual energy readings from that building on the edge of the settlement. It appears to be some kind of laboratory." Samantha studied the sensor readings, scanned for human life signs inside. After a moment, Maria looked up, her face pale. "Confirmed, Captain. There are humans in there. Their vital signs are irregular. It appears the Xanthians are conducting some kind of experiments on them." A cold silence fell over the bridge. When Samantha spoke again, her voice was steel. "Get our people out of there. All of them. The Council just made this personal." Lieutenant Kyle Bennett gripped the controls of the scout ship, defiant as it raced through the darkness of space. His mission was simple but dangerous. Reach the research outpost in the disputed zone and evacuate the 12 scientists before Xanthian forces arrived. Sensors picking up movement at coordinates 227 by 84 reported Ensign Lisa Howard from the tactical station. 3 Xanthian patrol vessels on an intercept course. Kyle's jaw tightened. Time to intercept. 7 minutes, Lisa replied. "They'd spotted us." The Defiant wasn't built for combat. It was fast and stealthy, but its shields wouldn't last long against military-grade weapons. Kyle studied the star chart on his display. Between their position and the outpost lay a dense asteroid field. "Hold on to something," he said, adjusting their course. "We're taking the scenic route." The Defiant changed direction, heading straight for the asteroid field. Behind them, the Xanthian ships accelerated in pursuit. "Sir, are you sure about this?" Lisa asked, her eyes wide. "That field is too dense for safe navigation." Kyle gave her a tight smile. "It's also too dense for them to use their targeting systems effectively. Sometimes the dangerous path is the safest one." The Defiant plunged into the field of tumbling rocks. Kyle guided the ship manually, his reflexes enhanced by thousands of hours of training. The ship twisted and turned between massive asteroids, sometimes with only meters to spare. "They're still following, but they've slowed down," Lisa reported. 2 ships remaining. Wait, make that one. Looks like the other hit an asteroid. 15 tense minutes later, the Defiant emerged from the field. The lone Xanthian ship that had made it through was now far behind them. Kyle pushed the engines to maximum as they approached the research outpost. The outpost came into view, a small collection of domes and antenna arrays on a rocky moonlet. Kyle opened a communication channel. "Research Outpost Sigma. This is Lieutenant Bennett of the Earth Defense Force. We're here to evacuate you. Please prepare for immediate departure." The scientists were ready, having received warning of the political situation days earlier. The Defiant docked, and the evacuation began. The 12 researchers brought only essential data and personal items. As the last scientist boarded, Lisa's voice became urgent. "Lieutenant, we have a problem. The Xanthian ship has called for reinforcements. 2 cruisers just dropped out of FTL near the planet." Kyle sealed the airlock. "Everyone strap in. This ride is about to get rough." The Defiant detached from the outpost and accelerated away. The Xanthian cruisers moved to cut off their escape route. Kyle studied his options and made a quick decision. "Hang on," he called as he sent the ship into a tight spiral, diving beneath the first cruiser. The Xanthian ship fired, its energy beams missing the Defiant by mere meters. Kyle utilized the cruiser's massive bulk as a shield against the second Xanthian vessel, then pushed the engines beyond safety limits. The Defiant shot away from the cruisers, which turned to pursue. "They're gaining on us," Lisa warned. "Just need to hold them off for 30 more seconds," Kyle replied, his fingers dancing across the controls. The Defiant shuddered as a glancing hit struck its rear shield. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. Then suddenly, the navigation computer beeped. "FTL calculations complete," Kyle announced. "Everyone hold tight." The stars stretched into lines as the Defiant jumped to faster than light speed, leaving the Xanthian ships behind. In the sudden quiet of successful escape, Kyle checked on their passengers. "Is everyone all right?" he asked. One of the scientists, Dr. Paul Winters, approached Kyle with a data drive in his hand. "Lieutenant, you need to see this," he said, his face grim. "We were monitoring Xanthian activity on New Montana. They're not just occupying it. They're already moving our people into detention facilities. We have footage." Kyle took the drive, his expression hardening. "I'll make sure Earth Command sees this immediately." 3 days later, the footage from New Montana spread across human space. Images of families being forced from their homes, of Xanthian soldiers destroying human flags and symbols. With each viewing, the flames of human anger grew higher. The Council had gone too far, and now they would learn what human fury truly meant. Senator Daniel Garrett stood at the podium in the United Earth Parliament. Representatives from all 193 nations filled the grand chamber. The emergency session had been going for 6 hours, but now it was time to vote on humanity's response to the Galactic Council's demands. "The evidence is clear," Daniel said, his voice firm despite his exhaustion. "This is not about territory for the Xanthians. This is about limiting human growth and influence. The Council fears our potential." On the large screens around the chamber, images of the colony worlds appeared. New Montana with its rolling plains and young cities. Liberty Point with its massive research centers. Haven with its lush farms feeding millions. "We built these worlds from nothing," Daniel continued. "Our people risked everything to create new homes among the stars. And now the Council expects us to simply abandon them." The chamber was silent. Even those who normally disagreed with Daniel's politics were nodding. "I propose we send our answer clearly. Humanity will not surrender a single colony. Not one city. Not one home." The vote was called. Green lights flashed across the chamber display as representatives voted one after another. The final tally appeared. 193 votes for rejection of the Council's demands. 0 abstentions, 0 against. Across Earth, people watched the vote on their screens. In offices, homes, and public squares, a cheer went up as the unanimous decision was announced. Humanity would stand together. Thousands of miles away, in the North American Science Complex, Dr. Olivia Pearson didn't see the vote. She had been in her lab for 3 days straight, working on something that might give humanity a fighting chance. "Run the simulation again," she told her team, pushing her red hair from her tired eyes. The holographic display showed a ship being hit by Xanthian plasma weapons. In previous simulations, the ship's shields failed within seconds. This time, the new quantum shield configuration held. "It works," whispered Alan Reeves, her assistant. "The recursive quantum field actually works." Olivia allowed herself a small smile. "It works in simulation. We need to test it on the real shield generators." "That could take weeks," Alan said. "We don't have weeks," Olivia replied. "The Council won't wait while we perfect our defenses." In orbit above Earth, Ambassador Gregory Walsh prepared to deliver humanity's answer to the Galactic Council. His shuttle docked with the massive Council diplomatic vessel. 4 guards escorted him to the communication chamber. "Ambassador Walsh," said the Xanthian representative, Zorl, "I trust you bring your people's acceptance of our generous terms." Gregory straightened his back. At 61, he had spent decades in diplomatic service, but never had he faced a moment like this. "I bring the unanimous decision of the United Earth Parliament," he said formally. "Humanity rejects your demands in their entirety. The colonies remain under Earth jurisdiction." The chamber erupted in angry shouts from various council representatives. The Xanthian's skin flushed a deep purple with rage. "This is your final decision?" asked Council Elder Mivara, her voice cutting through the noise. "It is," Gregory said firmly. "Then you leave us no choice," Mivara replied. "Guards, detain the human ambassador." Gregory felt strong hands grab his arms. He did not resist, maintaining his dignity as they took him away. "Tell your government that all human worlds are now under blockade," Mivara called after him. "No ships will enter or leave human space. This is the Council's response to your defiance." Back on Earth, Admiral Miller received the news of the ambassador's detention and the declared blockade. He immediately called Commander Wright. "It's happening," he said grimly. "The Council has thrown down the gauntlet." Allison Wright looked at the tactical display showing Council ships already moving into position around human space. "We knew this might happen, sir," she replied. "The Valiant and Defiant are ready to deploy to New Montana. Dr. Pearson reports progress on the shield technology." "Good," Miller said, "because as of right now, we're at war. And God help us all." Commander Allison Wright sat still as stone in the dimly lit conference room. The blue glow of the screen cast shadows across her face as the transmission from the Galactic Council ended. She took a deep breath and looked around at the shocked faces of her fellow officers. "They can't be serious," said Lieutenant Eric Mason, breaking the heavy silence. "3 whole colony worlds just handed over." Allison stood up slowly. At 42, she had spent half her life in Earth's defense forces. She had seen first contact, helped establish the colonies, and now she might witness the beginning of humanity's first interstellar war. "The Council seems very serious," she said. Her voice stayed steady even as anger burned inside her. "New Montana, Liberty Point, and Haven, all to be evacuated within 30 days. The Council's message had been clear. The territories humanity had settled over the past 20 years were now being claimed for the Xanthian species. The reason given was some ancient territorial right that no one had mentioned during the original settlement approvals. "What about our people?" asked Communications Officer Diane Foster. "There are over 2 million humans on those worlds." Allison tapped her tablet, bringing up population figures. 2.3 million, to be exact. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Admiral Frank Miller walked in, his face grim. Everyone stood at attention. "At ease," he said, though no one looked at ease. "I just finished a call with the President. I'm afraid there's more to this situation than what the Council told us officially." He activated the room's security protocols. The lights dimmed further, and a soft hum indicated that no signals could enter or leave. "This isn't about territory for the Xanthians," Miller said, his voice low. "Our intelligence suggests this is about containing human expansion. Several Council species are concerned about how quickly we've advanced our technology." Allison frowned. "We've followed all technology sharing agreements." "Yes, but they didn't expect us to improve on their designs so rapidly." Miller projected a chart showing technological development curves. "What took the Xanthians a century, we did in 12 years. The quantum drag improvements, the shield harmonics, the medical nanites. We're advancing too fast for their comfort." Eric let out a low whistle. "So they're pushing us back before we get too strong." "Exactly," Miller nodded. "The Council operates on balance of power. Some of the older species have been controlling that balance for millennia. We're disrupting their system." Allison felt cold anger replacing her shock. "So what's our response going to be?" "That's being decided now. The Earth Parliament is in emergency session." Miller looked at each of them. "But I'll tell you this. No Earth government could survive politically if they agree to abandon our colonists." "What about military options?" Allison asked. Miller's expression darkened. The Council fleet outnumbers us 6-1, but numbers aren't everything. Our ships are newer, faster, and our crews are exceptional. He paused. Commander Wright, I'm giving you command of the Defense Force for New Montana. It's our most populated colony and likely their first target. Allison straightened. I accept the command, sir. Good, because if diplomacy fails, you'll be our first line of defense. Miller looked around the room. We hoped to join the galactic community as peaceful partners, but if they force our hand, they'll learn that humans don't surrender what's ours. As the meeting ended, Allison remained behind, studying the star charts showing the colony worlds. Her brother and his family lived on New Montana. This wasn't just a matter of territory or politics for her. The Galactic Council had miscalculated badly. They saw humans as newcomers to be pushed around. They didn't understand that Earth's history was full of small nations standing against empires, of outnumbered forces finding ways to defeat larger ones. If the Council wanted these worlds, they would have to take them by force, and humanity would make them pay for every inch.